Greeting and welcome to Senior English class. This is Ms. Raja from Emirates American School talking to you. And our objective now for this lesson is to have some converse with the text that we are about to cover. A poem by Wordsworth titled as London 1802 on page 629. The objective of our lesson of today, by the end of the lesson, you will be able to discuss, analyze, and note the main points of the sonnet London 1802. So, today we are going to address Wordsworth as a political thinker. Yes, he was a political thinker. We've thought of Wordsworth in regards to his romanticism, specifically of issues about youth, old age, and the fact that when we're young, we have a certain way of changes. We've talked about Wordsworth in regard of his views of economics. The world is too much with us. Later, late or soon, getting and spending will lay waste our powers. It's not so much that Wordsworth is opposed to the mall, but rather he is opposed to the fact that the mall begins to matter more than the word of nature. That's for Wordsworth is the problem. Now we're going to turn to Wordsworth, to the politician, the voice of critique about political issues. And to help us here, I'm on page 629 with you. I wish you have already read the background of the poem in page 625, but if you don't do, please do not. This poem is going to address this issue of Wordsworth's loss of political idealism and hope. Wordsworth will be looking here in his poem to kind of speak maybe some of the negative sides, not the optimistic side of life, but the negative sides of life, especially in his country. It is kind of critique in some way of England and English people. Let's first point out that this poem, London 1802, was written after Wordsworth came back from his visit to France, where he saw some of damage of what happened in the French Revolution. The contrast here in his poem is going to be what Wordsworth called the vanity and parade of London life with the desolation after the revolution in France. As you can see in the pictures, this picture can show to what extent France was damaged because of the revolution and the Protestants during the 1800s. Please have a look and think about it. Look here, this is the king. Look to what extent it was savage, aggressive as well. And here is people, French people are so happy with the achievements when they become a republic country. Okay? So now he saw London. He saw London and the English people as uncaring about all what was happening in France. They were kind of self-absorbed. They were kind of totally under their own world. They don't care about what happens everywhere, since everything is okay where they live. This is not a happy poem. This is more critical of his culture. He is critiquing his own culture. like many other poets in other cultures do. Let's first listen to the poem. Please listen and follow. Listen and follow, please. And we're going to discuss the main points after listening. Let's start. Nice poem, really nice and very meaningful. As you can see in the you can of course identify the rhyme scheme, and you can see some archaic words that we're going to come to them and study them in a separate lesson. But who is Milton? Milton is one of the greatest English poets. Let's point out something. He is talking to Milton, saying, "You were the greatest of our poets, and you spoke right to where we were, right to what we needed at the time where we are, or where are you at that time? Where are you now?" Wordsworth is playing an interesting game here. He's going to this notion that England is already starting its decline. That's important. Write it down, please. England had been great in 1600s, but now, 2 years later, England is beginning to decline, to decrease. What's ironic about that? England was, as you have seen in the previous pictures, England was at its height, at its power, technologically speaking, in terms of industry, in terms of army, in terms of development. By 1800, England was one of the most powerful countries in the world. But Wordsworth said something is missing. Notice, he says, "We are selfish men." What does it mean? What does he want to say by to be selfish? What does it mean to be selfish? Could you please answer this question? What do we mean by being selfish? Yes, right. Yes, very good. That's it. When we only think about ourselves, we are selfish. When we're only interested in what stuff about ourselves, stuffs that matter to us only, we are selfish. We are not interested in stuffs that matter around the world. For example, in France. Can you see? So he is concerned with what is happening in France. Once he arrived and saw that in England they have a very peaceful and nice life, people did not care about what is happening in France, he felt that he has to take an action and to write. Sorry for this distraction, but let's continue. In other words, we need the voice of Milton to try to bring us back. Wordsworth wants English people to wake up politically. He claims that we need to wake up spiritually. Interestingly, he is referring to Milton as an influential poet. So this is a very nice poem, but let's focus on something that you may like to identify by yourselves. I want you first to mark the figurative language in lines 2 and 6, and this is one of the elements that you took before. The language that is used to describe England. Yes, I'm sure that you're gonna do this easily. Then please tell me what can you infer from the speaker's description of England. Then think about why might the author have included these details. Please bear ready for the discussion of this poem next time or tomorrow, since you will get the link via the weekly plan. I hope that you had a wonderful time, or you're having a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is Mrs. Raja again. Have a nice time and see you in the Streamline class. Thank you.